Hi.
Hey,
Can you hear
hey.
me?
Yes, yes.
So a few things. One, I just wanted to give you an update. Thank you so much for the help with the scaling syndrome and the paradoxical breathing.
Oh, good.
Um, the scaling syndrome has lessened quite a bit, and I think it just depends on what I'm thinking about or what I'm doing in the course of
Yeah,
the day.
yeah.
I can feel it tighten, but thanks to the
Right.
protocols, they
And
work.
keep doing so it is feeling like it's moving in the direction of being resolved. And
Yeah,
it does take a while, but like if you just keep doing it over a period of time, like you said, like stress or getting upset or fatigued. Fatigue is actually a very big thing that causes the scalings to go out, by the way.
yeah.
You your breathing will change and the scalings will start to trigger again a little bit. So it sounds like you're super aware of it. Just keep doing it, give it some time, and you know it should resolve itself. There's ways of getting in, like in a painful way, like manipulating those things, but it is incredibly uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was blessed with a fascia release treatment from Kathy, who's on this call right now, Kathy
Oh,
Focus.
tremendous. Yeah.
And she used some tuning forks
Oh
and
yeah, that should
released the
work very
fascia.
well for that.
And
Yeah.
and so since that treatment, I would say everything from almost the xiphoid process up is 50% better plus the
Good.
oils. So, I also told you I was going to follow up with all these specialists and stuff that my doctor wanted me to follow up with. So I got a breathing test the other day,
Mhm.
and I thought, okay, now they will see that I'm not crazy, and I paradoxical breathing through the roof. I mean, I was double exhaling and panting, and I just could not get my breathing regulated. And the crazy thing is, after all of that trouble, the doctor looked at the results and he said, your oxygen levels are great. There's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah, they're just looking at oxygen levels there. It has nothing to do with like the breath itself. Like
Yeah, I was a
it's like the thing with the breath is it's a functional problem. It's not necessarily a
yes,
medical problem. And so he's looking at the test, like how much oxygen are you getting in your blood, are you able to he's looking for certain markers. He's not really looking at it from the point of view of function. He's just
right.
looking for medical conditions. And so
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's a different tool, like, you know what I mean. That's
right.
why
Yeah,
it's like when you kind of combine the both, it can be a very accelerated healing process depending on the condition. But sometimes orthodox medicine is more appropriate, and sometimes more of the functional medicine that can be more appropriate, because they're looking at different things.
right. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's my update about that. And I'm going to I found a DO who specializes in myofascial release.
Oh, tremendous.
And I'm going to
Yeah,
see
yeah.
them in 2 weeks. So I'm looking for even more
He
improvements.
probably can go directly onto those scalings and work on those.
Yeah.
I mean, it's usually a chiropractic adjustment or like a neuromuscular specialist, or sometimes you'll get a sassy physical therapist that will do it.
Right.
Like that they have had people that have had that issue, and they'll get in there and just go right at it. But usually an osteopath, sometimes a chiropractor.
Yeah.
um,
I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, it's a
So I,
delicate area because you're working in and around the brachial plexus, and so you can't just go poking in there, like, you know what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah,
That's why I kind of like those tuning forks for something like that. You're doing it in a way where it's not as painful, it's not as intrusive, and yet it still gets the job done.
oh yeah, she was
Yeah,
absolutely amazing with it. I'm so grateful for both of
yeah.
you and the help. So two questions. I don't know
Mhm.
if the answers are going to be quick or not, but so COVID helped exacerbate this paradoxical breathing to make me aware of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And so now what I'm finding is, so I'm not nearly as fatigued. I can do maybe like 2 or 3 full days in a row with work and everything. But what I noticed today, and I'm sure it's been happening all along, I'm just getting more and more in tune, I guess, with what's going on. Um, it literally felt like, so I was trying to take a timed language test, and it literally felt like the neurons in my brain, like there was something in between, and they just could not
Yeah.
connect correctly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if, like, is there something I can do to heal that, or do my neurons just have to
Treating the
rewire?
stuff that you're doing is actually the treatment, because the thing is like you're basically like describing what we would call afferent and efferent, which is just like the movement of like neurological impulses.
Uh-huh.
And what happens when you have paradoxical breathing is it just kind of gets scrambled. Like, so your nervous system isn't quite functioning like it normally does because the breath is off.
Okay.
So a lot of times correcting the paradoxical breathing will also regulate that. There are times where if you do need to help like re-educate the neural pathways, or like calm down the nerves, you could use like vetiver or sage,
Mhm.
just inhaling. You could just even rub it on the neck a little bit, not because the neck's anything like special or going to do something, but it just, you're getting it kind of close up to the head. Like I tend to
Mhm.
like to do it like at the base of the skull on the backside.
Okay.
You could also do it in the temples. Um, that can be helpful, but the big one is correcting the breath. Like if you
Okay.
can correct the breath, um, you know, I didn't say this when we were talking about it because I don't think you really have this issue, but like when you're looking at like the breath, especially like the paradoxical breathing, and you could say this also for like anxiety or something like this. um, there's like these different like phases what you're treating. You're treating like how rapid the breath is.
Mhm.
You're also treating how we were talking about a little while ago, like how it's impacting the central nervous system.
Mhm.
The rapid breathing, you can slow the breath down sometimes with the use of a lang lang. Lang lang actually is very good for kind of calming the breath down a little bit. It doesn't deepen it, but it just can slow down a rapid breath, right? And then you follow it with spikenard, which continues to slow down the breath, but it starts calming down the central nervous system, like we were talking about. And
Mhm.
here you're talking about how the nerves are firing. Again, like sometimes you would calm them down, and then there's other times where, like depending on what stage of therapy you're in, you might actually use like a body stimulant like forest mint or peppermint to like jumpstart the nerves the way that they're firing through the body.
Mhm.
I don't think you're at that phase yet. Like I wouldn't worry about that part. I think it's probably going to resolve on its own. But
Okay.
the other thing is go through and do, what did I say, lang lang, um,
Spikenard.
spikenard, and then you deepen the breath with like the hiss up and unwind that. But the one that can happen sometimes, and it's not so much about the lungs. It's this is actually more for like the trachea, like the upper part of the respiratory tract, like that's more like in the throat. Is
Mhm.
you would use, like sometimes what happens is that the area here starts to like constrict, and like the diameter of the throat like reduces. And so even though the breath is getting better, you still have this issue with the diameter of the throat. And in those particular cases, what we would do is use, it's very specific. It's this oil called Tolu balsam, And you can inhale it, but usually what I do is I have people put like several drops in their hand with like a little bit of lotion or oil and just like rub it up on the upper chest. And you got to do it like a couple of times a day, and it's a very pleasant smelling thing, but it helps to loosen that tension in the throat and allow the throat to open up, which is like the trachea, the esophagus, all that kind of smooth muscle in there. The only reason, like if we're problem solving and things just still aren't responding, that's the thing that I would go to.
Okay.
I don't think you have that issue, so I didn't mention it when we were talking about it way back when.
Okay.
But it's always a potential. And then the other thing we look at is like the swallowing mechanism. Like, are you having any difficulties swallowing, or like
No, that's how the
gulping
doctor
air?
ruled out Guillain-Barré.
Right. Okay. And so the other thing is like, just from time to time, do you go,
Oh yeah.
okay, so that is anise. Start taking anise a couple times a day in water, like, or even just
Okay.
once a day, a couple of drops in water,
Okay.
because that is, it's not really a medical condition, although sometimes a doctor will acknowledge it. But in functional medicine, it's called like aerophagy. It just means gulping air.
Yeah.
But it's tied to the function of the nervous system.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I do when I wake up in the morning. First thing,
Yeah.
like I haven't been
Gulp.
breathing or something.
It's like and it's kind of weird. It's like, it's not even through the nose, it's
No.
through the mouth.
Yeah,
It's
like I'm coming up from water or something.
yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
that's known as aerophagy. And so the anise or anise, however you want to say it,
Mhm.
it's balancing to the involuntary part of your nervous system. And one
Okay.
of the things that it does is it helps to regulate the swallowing mechanism, and it helps to regulate that gulping.
Oh, thank you. Okay. And my last question was, and maybe this is all related, because I feel like when I eat, like I feel like my body's not absorbing the nutrients, and maybe I'm not even digesting the food. I mean, I have a full digestion, like it goes all the way through, from top to bottom, but I
Yeah,
just feel like I'm missing nutrients or something. Like
yeah.
I may as well have been eating
Again,
here.
that probably is a little bit related.
Okay.
Just the nerves in the gut can be a little bit off. I would try doing the um, digestive calm, the body tonic.
Yeah, I've
Like
been
rub
using
it,
that.
yeah, rub it on the abdomen just as you keep unwinding all the stuff, keep rubbing
Okay.
it there. You could, I mean, the anise actually might also help that. Rosemary could help, but I would say let's have you do the anise first, but then
Okay.
like maybe after a week or two, when you see that the gulping is going down, because we want to be
Mhm.
able to see that a problem's resolving somewhat, right? It
Okay.
doesn't have to be completely, but it's like, we're moving in the right direction, right?
Okay.
The thing that I would probably put you on is cinnamon or cassia, and probably it would be cinnamon leaf.
Mhm.
And so here's the reason is, so for one, it helps stimulate digestion, and basically like assimilation, right?
Mhm.
It helps the rhythm or the movement of the digestive tract. And then the other thing that it does that's not associated with digestion, it is when the breath is weakened, like when like you're just not breathing as hard as you should be, like
Yes.
it's a weakened breath, you have a couple of choices that help to resolve that: thyme and then cinnamon. And
Mhm.
with the things you got going on, I'd lean more towards cinnamon.
Okay, ingest it, couple of drops.
Yeah, that would definitely, like, you a couple drops in water, like at
Okay,
the beginning of the day, like at the
okay.
beginning of the day.
Thank you so much.
Inhaling might work, but ingesting it here is so much faster that I just wouldn't even mess around with trying to do it through
Okay.
inhalation. I just go for it.
Okay,
Now, be sure to put it in a lot of water, because it will make the lips tingle and things like that.
okay.
and it could be juice or whatever, but like, and then drink it.
Alrighty. Thank you so much,
You're,
Greg.
you're
Appreciate
so
it.
welcome. You're so welcome.